السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. رب لا تذرني فردا وأنت خير الوارثين. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. رب اجعل هذا البلد آمنا واجنبني وبني أن نعبد الأصنام. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. We have studied up to the, inshallah, we are on the right one, 44, okay, 63. Now, we have been continuing to study the section Araf, 7th section of the Quran, and we studied up to the verse 63, and we just inshallah, have to go into the subject directly. So, let's see, verse 63 says, أَوَعَجِبْتُمْ أَنْ جَاءَكُمْ ذِكْرٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَلَى رَجُلٍ مِّنْكُمْ لِيُنذِرَكُمْ وَلِتَتَّقُوا وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Okay, let me get a bit closer to myself so I can read the word easily. So, the meaning in why do you think that it is strange that a message from your Lord, your Rabb, would come to you through a man from among yourself? I mean, I would say, why do I think it is strange that a message from my Creator would come to me through a man from among just these people around me? I would say, yeah, really, it is strange.
So, Brother Ali, is this the answer to when they were accusing the Prophet Noah?
Yeah.
You're like a misguided, right?
Yes, but Noah is, I mean, here in the text, Noah is speaking, but of course, God is speaking to me. God is speaking to me now.
Correct. Now, yes.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm reading it for myself. I'm not reading it for the sake of the story or history of Noah. So you should, and every one of us here should read it for ourselves. So we find it strange that a message should come to a man from among myself, with the people around me. I mean, isn't that strange? God speak to a man. Of course, we have to understand the background, why the Quran speaks in this way. It needs a deeper investigation from our side. It is not a simple matter. So I have to say, look, what is the message God speaks to me? I have to establish, really, does God speak? I've never seen anything like that. The universe is out there and everything goes on a steady way within an order. Yes, the universe seems to be very interesting. I cannot deny that. And everything is well arranged. No, I cannot deny this either. But at the same time, the universe seems to be, it's a wonderful being. It is I mean, to be honest, everybody can understand that it is an well arranged universe. It needs a conscious creator. I have to go there. And this conscious creator has arranged everything in such a way that me and the universe is perfectly in contact with each other. And we are communicating with the universe, and we have the intelligence. We are given the intelligence to communicate and question what is the meaning of these, all sorts of things here. They seem to be meaningful as well. I'm going a bit fast, because we have touched upon this subject earlier, maybe more than once. And I am speaking, I understand from other people's speech as well, if someone speaks to me. And also I can make sense of the beauty of the universe and the deliberate acts of something going on in this universe. Of course, I cannot claim, and no one can show any evidence that the things happen by themselves. So well arranged, and also their existence cannot be really just taken easily. And also, I have many questions that I cannot answer. So in order to understand the deeper and deeper meaning in the creation, I have to investigate more and more, make more and more researches. People are trying to get most of this universe. There is a really very active or very hot relationship between me and the universe. If the universe was not meaningful, I would just not bother about it at all. But I know there are many secrets to be discovered in the universe as well. It is not a simple creation. The more I investigate, the more apparent the perfection of the existence become. So precise, so meaningful, so purposeful. I have to submit that it cannot be pointless. So I ask the question, what is the point in existing? What is the point in the relationship between me and the universe? What are they for? It is a really serious question for human beings. And also, I come to myself and my existence, I found my existence even more sophisticated and perfect. What does it mean? As if I am located within the universe, in the center of the universe, as if everything is for me alone. Everybody can say that. It doesn't really exclude other people is benefiting and claiming that the universe is for them as well. No, everybody can say it. What a perfect arrangement. Everybody can say that the universe is mine, or it's created for me, or made for me, prepared for me, whatever the language you prefer to use. All my questions are in suspension. There is no answer. As the universe says, yeah, I'm wonderful, but no, there is no answer in me. But I know that the universe has a, how do you say, united characteristics. What do I mean by united? I made up the term right now. I didn't think about it seriously. United character. It means every creature says, I am perfectly arranged. That means I cannot do it by myself, and any other beings like me cannot do it. We are all subject to the order of the universe. Therefore, the will that arranged the order of the universe in the way that I am experiencing now. Perfect. My creator must know all the universe, my source of existence, whoever made me, must know all the universe so that it located me in the universe in such a perfect position that I am fulfilling my mission in order to complete the meaningful activities, purposeful activities of other parts of the universe. What does it mean again? So my creator must know, my creator must be able to control the universe, my creator must have the purpose, and this purpose must be a wise purpose. So therefore, my source of existence must have wisdom. And again, who is that and why? What are you expecting of me? If someone really calls me and invites me to his home and gives everything what I need, lets me entertained as I like. I really wonder why this man is doing this. I don't know him. Apparently he knows me, but I don't deserve this kindness, this generosity. What is going on? Well, if I see the owner of the house or the host, I would really ask him, why are you doing all what you do to me? That is an inevitable question from my human side. I am made in this way. I cannot escape from my reality. Go and go and go. Excuse me again. I understand there is a riddle here to be solved. Puzzling. So I'm confused now. What is going on exactly? So the creator of the universe, source of the existence of the universe, demonstrates to me through the acts that I am experiencing here in the universe, within myself, everything demonstrates that and proves that my source of existence must be a conscious being. So I want to know who he is and what does he want. And he must, and also I am able to speak. So he made me with the ability to speak, capacity to speak. It must be a source of my quality of speech as well. It must speak as well. Oh, how can I receive this speech? So it goes, we have to go deeper. Also, whole universe is out there, and there is no sign, and there is no sign of the being in its physical appearance here. Or my conclusion is, it is a mystery I have to solve. A man comes out from among ourselves, but these people are mostly uneducated, and says, look, what honest, trustworthy people. I know him. He's honest, he's trustworthy, but innocent, has no political aim, and especially we have to be very careful about it, doesn't ask anything in recompense. It means, what I mean by it, in return. Look, I have to be the king. Follow me. No, you have to give me something, some benefit. No, he says, but it is not mine anyway. Why should I ask for any price for it? Why? It is not mine. I understand. Something happened, and all this message came to me. I'm delivering it to you. Don't pay anything in return. I'm not expecting them. I wouldn't accept it anyways, even if you give me, assign me as a king. No, I wouldn't accept it. It is not my duty. But I am here to serve you. Now, open the bracket. What the Prophet was the leader of Medina, and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Why? He was appointed to serve the community. Not because he wanted, as a result of deliverance of his message. No. They said, you are an honest man. Come and take over, take care of the administration of our society. He was a stranger. He was an immigrant. They appointed him for their own benefit. They knew that we are not going into the subject. They knew that they needed an impartial person, but trustworthy person, just person, wise person. And they understood that Muhammad was trustworthy, just, impartial, and honest man. They said, come. We said, okay, I don't mind serving you, but it is not a reward. It is a burden on me, you know. It is a burden. I'm not the king. You know, I will administer it. I will get nothing out of it. You will see in my life. And that is what they were expecting of him, and it had been proved throughout his life. So close the bracket now. It is not a price or requital or anything payment, any wage. No, he was getting the little as a result of his administration, labor, but as little as possible, just to survive, nothing else. When he died, he had no inheritance at all, almost at all. He had just his armor. What else? Almost nothing. left everything zero with no inheritance. So that is his specific case. Of course, we have to understand, if someone doesn't go through these stages of reflections, they will definitely find it strange. But as we did here, it's a very short trip, if you like, through the reasoning why God should speak, and he should speak in a language that I understand, the language that human beings can understand. And also, it must be according to the reality of my life. According to reality of my life, which means if someone, for example, whatever it is, they wouldn't believe in angels either, this kind of people, because they have not, they should, it seems to be they should have not thought about it. That's why they find a rough human being. Find this case, a man is coming out and saying that I'm going to deliver you a speech which I have received from God, the Creator. They wouldn't listen to him because they don't think about it. So what they are supposed to do, of course, these prophets should demonstrate miracles in order to have some sort of evidence so that the people will say, look, he says, God employed me and he demonstrates something that only the creator of the universe can create. Oh, it means the creator of the universe is really confirming his claim through the miracles. And also content of the message should make sense to human beings. That is what we have to really build up our background so that these people are invited here. Yes, you find it strange, but think about it, you will understand that you need guidance, you need explanations, answers to your questions, and it must be through a means that you understand, make sense of it, and also must be presented to you through the example demonstrated by a man like yourself, so that you wouldn't say, no, I cannot follow angels. I cannot follow a voice from coming behind the clouds, and I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, I may intellectually understand it, but it doesn't really affect my practical daily life. I must see an instructor in my life demonstrating it. So when we learn something theoretical, we have to put it into practice and make exercise with it. And for this reason, we understand that this messenger or the one who brings the message must be in the form of a man. I think this way of approaching the subject of messengership satisfies me. Otherwise, saying that Muhammad is our prophet and the Quran is our book, and in the book there are many other prophets mentioned there, and their stories are told us. These are all based on prejudice. I mean, yeah, that's why we are Muslims and we believe in it. But this kind of reasoning doesn't convince even the believers. They take it and without thinking. If they think they have to go through the root of it, why they were satisfied with the Quran? Why they were satisfied with the idea that the prophets, messengers should be appointed from a man among the messenger must be a man from among themselves. So
explain to me the reasoning, how you came to this, that must be in the form of a man.
Sorry?
Like, how do you come to this reasoning that the message must come from in the form of a man, the messenger?
The messenger must be a man.
Yeah.
Like me, a human being, I mean. Right?
So you said he must be.
Yes,
Must
he
be.
must be. Yes. If the messenger is not a person, a man, how can I really get the language, get the speech? Because the speech is coming from an absolute source. How can I communicate with the absolute source? He must come down as his acts are. His acts are in this world. Look, I can experience it. Whatever he creates, I touch it. I experience it. I benefit them, use them. But it is a dissension, if you like. dissension of the absolute being, demonstrating himself through the acts of creation that I can interact with. So his message also must be descended in the form of in the form that I can communicate with practically. So if it was a tree, for example, huge tree, how can I benefit from it? Because he's not a human being. He's not going to practice it as a human being. I'm not a tree. Tree is not a human being. So that is why, of course, it is a very important subject, actually, and not very frequent, that much talked about among the believers or non-believers. They don't believe and they are not interested in it from the beginning for some other reasons. That is why the situation in the world is going like as it does now, as it is going. It is terrible. We have to speak in a way that it should satisfy our reason. Yeah, that is why, for example, can I learn, I don't know, mathematics from I don't know, anything from matter, or I gave the example from a bird, for example, from a tree. The human being must work with me. We have to walk together, exercise it together. A human means, even the machine, for example, behind it, there's a human actor. Otherwise, I cannot learn it. I cannot practice it if it is not exactly within my capacity. Okay. I don't know whether what I said makes any sense so far. Yeah. They said, of course, they asked this question. We should ask this question as well, that it is strange that a message from my creator should come to me through a man like myself, and a man like me. I know, I've seen it in the street walking. It must be. Otherwise, practically, it is not useful for me. So if I understand this background, I will understand that he might warn you, but not from himself, from God. Deliver God's warning to human beings. That is what all prophets must have explicitly explained and told people that this is not from me. Otherwise, they would be wise philosophers or something. Not a prophet. Prophet should say, that is what God told me, and that's it. I don't know. When they are asked the question, they say, let me think about it. No, this I don't know. And what we see, many examples narrated from the life of the prophet, when they are asked, when the prophet is asked about some certain things, he says, if God lets me get the answer, I will transfer it to you. Otherwise, I don't know. That's what happens in the life of the prophet. He never said that, look, I thought about it and I understood, or according to my understanding, according to my conclusion, there is no such thing. Even when he says something, as seeing the case, it's a very good example, simple example, but a good example. Two people were arguing of course, the Prophet was a judge of the community. As a community leader at that time, there was not a Department of Justice. So he was every department of the administration. And the two arguing people came to the Prophet, and the Prophet listened to them and said, okay, this one is right, this one is wrong, and then that is what I understood from what you said. It is not wahi. It is not from God. That is what I understood from your presentation of your cases. And as a judge, that's what I understood. This seems to be right, this seems to be wrong. So the person who won the case, and as soon as he left the Prophet, of course, the life is very simple in Medina. They started talking and said, you see, I was right. The Prophet confirmed it. And the Prophet came out and said, look, I didn't confirm it as a prophet. It wasn't God's decision. This is Muhammad's decision. Whoever presents his case in such a way that appears to be he is right, then I pass the judgment accordingly. It is my personal judgment. It's nothing to the prophetic message. It means not from God, this is from me. He declared openly the difference between whether God's revelation, God's guidance, or his own reasoning. That is what we should understand. And he made it clear in many cases, saying that, look, it's appeared to me, it is not from my God. Not only the Quran. Of course, prophet must be trained, educated, and guided by God as far as conveying the message is concerned. Message of God is concerned. But when it is when the case is his personal idea, he said, no, it is my case, my personal idea. It is not God's guidance, made it clear. We have to pay attention to this point. It is not God's guidance. And then it is administrator's judgment. For example, a friend's suggestion. But when it comes to God's guidance, he says, I don't know. God told me this. God educated me in this way, and this is what we have to do. This, by the way, we have to understand, this does not consist of the Quran, which is now written in our hand in the form of Mus'haf, a book. A book. That is different. The others are, we call them prophetic exemplary lifestyle. Prophetic exemplary lifestyle. Even in the case I told, I mentioned now, I narrated, and roughly narrated, of course, not precise narration of the text of the hadith, roughly the meaning I narrated. In this case, what the Prophet is showing us, you have to know that when you decide about something yourself, it is not guaranteed that it would represent the truth, the real case. That is your impression. Admit it. Admit it. That is the prophetic ethic, teaching us that if I decide something, which I do, I'm sure you do in your daily life, or many things, you decide about many things, and you understand that this is your decision. I understand this is my decision. That's why I don't really guarantee that what I have decided as to be the truth, not guaranteed. Even we have to understand it. We should not be prejudiced. When I read the Quran, I understand it, but I have to admit that this understanding is my action, not guaranteed. But within my capacity, as far as my capacity allows me to understand the case, I am responsible for it. I trust. As long as it is not disproved, unless otherwise disproved, I accept it as truth and follow it. But the Quran represents the knowledge of God, therefore the absolute truth. But my understanding of the Quran is not absolute truth. I understood within my own capacity. I know I am going into some details and apparently irrelevant, but it is relevant to how we should really handle the prophetic mission or profession. How are we going to handle it? That is why it is important. Okay, I will continue here. وَلِتَتَّقُوا وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. So that they might warn you, so that they might become mindful of God, so the people might become mindful of God. It means bear in mind that they have an owner, they have a creator, and of course their creation is meaningful, purposeful. So that, and also so that you might be graced with his mercy, turhamun. وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Hopefully.
Which verse is this, Brother Ali?
63. Isn't that on the, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
63. The
Thank you.
last piece of the last verse on the slide. وَلِتَتَّقُوا وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. لَعَلَّكُمْ means hopefully. It is better for them to receive the grace of God if they don't deny it, if they don't turn their back to it. Now, why would this kind of language, again, needs a little bit analysis? It doesn't mean that when I receive the verses of the Quran or verses of the message, revelation, through the prophets, it doesn't mean that without any reason I have to follow them. After being convinced that these sentences are really God's speech, I have to trust the God's speech, but I should not absolutely establish a trust on my understanding. Did I make this case clear? That is what I believe. If I am convinced that this person is employed by God and what he delivered to me is the speech of God, the Creator. Now, I have to trust that text. If I am convinced, one condition, if I am convinced about it, not taking for granted, not following the culture, not following ancestral religion, my ancestors' religion, but I am, to a certain extent, according to my capacity, or as far as my capacity allows me, I am convinced about it. Really, really. So I have to trust it, and try to understand that this is useful for me. Let me understand it. And I have to approach the text with a good intention. It means, this is from my God. Let me understand it. If I am convinced previously that it is God's word, basing on my reasoning, previous reasoning, then I'm convinced. Okay, as a human being, I'm convinced. Now, my feelings do not contradict. I say, this is the guidance from my Creator. Now, when it comes to the details, each sentence in it, I have to have a positive attitude towards it. And see now, what does it say to me? While I am convinced about the truthfulness of the text, does not guarantee that my understanding of the text is absolutely true. We should understand this. For example, what we are doing here, or what I am doing here, that is what I understood from this verse, which is a wonderful verse. Actually, it's a very realistic way of teaching to me. And I have to understand this. Why these people said this, and what is the solution, and how am I going to have a positive attitude rather than those people used this reasoning to reject the prophet sent to them. In this case, of course, if it is important at all, no, but the case may be and is possible to happen for any prophet. They did the same thing to the prophet Muhammad as well. For other examples of the prophets, they use the same reasoning in order to reject it. But at the same time, we have to have our reasoning why their rejection does not make sense and why I don't agree with them. I must convince myself. That's what we have been trying today. Now, when I understood something from it, it doesn't guarantee that the source is absolute truth or represents absolute truth. My understanding, my perception of it also is absolute truth. That is a very severe mistake, and commonly we claim this actually. In my life also, I insist my understanding is somehow absolutely true. That is why all the conflicts, I mean, not tolerating each other. If a conflict of ideas, understandings are tolerating each other, I understand and I love them. And as far as I know, the prophet also was agreeing with these understandings, not competing or conflicting each other, but I mean, not the idea conflicting. It means quarreling and defending themselves as if they are representing, each side is representing the absolute truth. If they both are tolerant to each other, that is perfect. It's very human, because I look at the case from one aspect and understand it from that aspect in a different way than my friend who looks at the case from his perspective. Inevitably, they may see something different from me. I will say, okay, I think one part of the truth is what you said. I feel that one part of the truth of the text is what I say. Let's be tolerant to each other. And okay, we are coming from the same source. So, for example, somebody is hungry, or an ant maybe loves liquid dish. And if there is a dry rice, and he says, this food is not good for him. Correct. Because he is not according to his appetite. And if somebody else loves dry hard food dish and not liquid, liquid seems to be not really satisfying for him or for her. And he says it is beautiful. He is right as well. But everybody is right from his own expectations, own perspective. Yeah, but do you think the truth represents or can be represented in two ways? Yeah, depending on you. So we have to, as the prophet says, and the Quran repeatedly mentions, look, what I have received is from God, I'm sure, because it is not my production. It is taught to me through angels or whatever the way they receive the message. And I'm presenting it to you. And what else? Do I impose on you? Yeah. No, sorry. Sorry, confused the language. No, I'm presenting it to you. My duty is just to deliver the message, which I am doing. Take it or leave it, it's up to you. Consequences will be with you, not with me. My duty is to present it. If someone comes up and stops me from delivering the message, no, I cannot do it. Why? My God said, go and deliver it to people. Don't impose on them. Deliver it to people. That is why everybody must be tolerant and deliver the message to others. But if someone denies it in an unacceptable, irrational way, I would say, look, you are not doing something right. You have a hidden agenda. Maybe your arrogance, your material benefits, whatever, but you should not prevent me from doing or performing my mission, delivering the message to others. So we have to be relaxed, but at the same time determined, in our mission determined. Not impose, but definitely deliver. Inshallah. Too much, I think, about this verse. Let me go. One more verse. And those people who were arrogant, 64, فكذبوه فأنجيناه والذين معه في الفلك. Now, but they insisted denying, كذبوه, and they called him a liar, and we saved him and those who stood by him in the ark. Again, I remember we're talking about this matter because this example of the Quran is beautiful, so meaningful. So those people who deny the message, they cannot benefit from it. They cannot get on the ark, on the ship, if you like, of the message. They cannot benefit from it. So what they will do, so while وَأَغْرَقْنَا الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا, and we caused those who rejected our message to drown. إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَوْمًا عَمِينَ. Amin, ama, blind. They were blind to the truth. It means not because they are created blind, they closed their eyes to the truth. So they became blind. They made themselves blind. Of course, they are given the sense of sight, they are given the eyes, but they make themselves blind. Otherwise, they can see the truth. They can understand. They are given the ability to understand it. That is why وَأَغْرَقْنَا الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا. We caused those who rejected our message to drown. أغرقنا, we drowned them. What does it mean? So God really pushed them into the flood or deluge or inundation, whatever you call them, into this water that they get thrown in it. I don't think the Quran means this. That's my understanding again. If there is water there which harms you, and if you don't listen to the message, if a person doesn't listen to the message, now we have to understand this. Very simple, very simple. What he prefers or what he chooses to stay away the message of the Creator. What is left with him? The matter, his own egoistic desires, and meaningless, purposeless life. Because if you don't listen to the prophetic message, the life will be only between your birth and your death. And anything you have will leave you behind. As soon as you get it, it leaves you. That is the reality of the creation, how the creation takes place. It leaves you behind. Oh, you cannot get it. You cannot get satisfaction. Especially your feelings will be left with no satisfaction. That is why if someone doesn't follow the message, he finds himself, as a result of his own choice, in or drawn into his caprices or worldly life itself, and tries to catch it, like the carrot. You know this famous example? Carrot touched upon the back of the rabbit, and in front of the carrot is, how do you say? Oh, in front, not falling down. I couldn't remember the word.
Carrot and stick.
Sorry?
Carrot and stick.
No, I don't understand the word. Suspended. Okay? Suspended in front of him. And as carrot goes, so the rabbit goes to get the carrot. Of course, carrot goes with it. Because human beings, I want to get it. As I am getting old, the thing I am trying to get it also immediately disappears. I cannot really hold on to it. It goes. it goes immediately. Think about eating your food. You eat and it goes, the taste goes. Of course, in your body goes as well. So nothing remains at the end, and the person dies, and he thinks that's it. No hope for future. This kind of order of creation has been established by God, and God is letting us know here that if they don't listen to God's message, those people will be drawn into the flood. And this flood will drown them. It means they will never survive as a human being in it. They will never get satisfaction of their life. So we may say that, look, nowadays the civilizations are all secular, and or there is a corruption. Everybody is really suffering from the ethical or moral corruption going on in the society. There is no need to mention bad things. And what am I supposed to do? Then one thing, listen to the message of the prophets, think about it, reflect on it, make sense of it, and get on the board with the prophet or deck of the ark. That is how it is presented here. If you don't, you will be drawn into your caprices or the caprices of the people who established this secular society. You have to work and work and work and work and then die away, finish. What did you have at the end? Nothing. Gone. As far as the life of this world is concerned, of course. Just because they made themselves blind to the message. Close their eyes, or maybe the eyes of their mind, eyes of their feelings, I mean, symbolically speaking. So they don't want to admit it. Well, everybody has freedom of choice. We can just use this way or another way. That is, when we read this kind of verses, there are very, very many verses speaking in this way, as if God's throwing them into the fire, God's throwing them into the flood. Oh, yeah, as if God will speak. Oh, God is telling me this is my order. This is his order. And if I don't do this, I will find out myself being subject to the opposite case. This is the order, and this order is God's order. He established it, and I understand this, and I am free to choose this way or another way, although one of them makes 100% reasoning or 100% sense, the other one makes 0% sense. I'm free, still I'm free. But this doesn't really prevent me from exercising my freedom. Yeah. I think we have to understand, we cause those because the language is aghraqna, gharqa is to draw. Somebody is if the aghraqtu for example, I drown. But aghraqna, somebody else is making him or her to draw or draw. That is the language. But this language teaches me that the result will be created by God only after I decide to turn blind to the message and deny it. Inshallah, this verse is understood. Oh. Any question, any concern about this verse? No? The time, I didn't notice. I don't know, the time passes very quick to my, because do you think I am speaking and somehow excited with the meanings of the verses, which really makes sense to me and represents the reality as far as my capacity understands it. So well, I hope it is not boring for you. All right, inshallah, we should stop here today and we will continue next time from verse 65. Yep, inshallah, following verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر